The Three Spinners from 50 Famous Fairy Tales. There was once a lazy girl who would not spin. No matter what her mother said, she would not work. At last, the mother, angry and impatient, struck the girl on the side of the head, making her cry out loudly. Just at that moment, the queen was passing in her carriage. She heard the noise and stopped. Going up to the house, she asked the mother why she was beating up her daughter. The mother, ashamed to have her daughter's laziness known, answered, I cannot make her stop spinning. She wants to spin all day, and I'm so poor I can't buy enough flax. To this the queen replied, I'm never more pleased than when I hear of spinning wheels whirring. Let your daughter go with me up to the castle. I have flax enough, and she may spin as much as she pleases. The mother agreed, and the queen took the girl home with her. As soon as they reached the castle, the queen led the girl to the 3 rooms filled top to bottom with the finest flax. Now spin this flax for me, the queen said, and when you've spun it all, you shall have my eldest son for your husband. Although you are poor, your eagerness to work is worth more than gold. The girl, terrified at these words, for she had not the faintest notion of how to spin flax, and could not do so if she sat there for 100 years, but she said nothing. When left alone, she began to cry, and thus she sat for 3 days and 3 nights without stirring a hand. On the fourth day, the queen came, and seeing that nothing had been done, began to wonder about the girl. The maiden was afraid to tell the truth, and excused herself by saying she had not been able to start spinning because she was so upset about leaving home. The queen was sorry for her, but as she left, she said, Put your sadness behind. You must begin your work for me tomorrow. The girl would have done so if she could, but alas, she did not know where to start. As soon as she stood looking out the window, she saw 3 women walking past. The first had a broad, flat foot, and the second such a large underlip that it nearly reached her chin. The third a very wide thumb. They stopped beneath the window and looking up asked the girl why she looked so sad. She told them of her trouble, and they offered their help, saying, Will you invite us to your wedding feast and not be ashamed of us? Will you call us your aunts and let us sit at your table? But if you promise, we will spin the flax for you very quickly. With all my heart, I will do everything you ask, replied the girl. Come in and begin at once. The 3 women entered and clearly made a good pace in the first room. They sat themselves down and began spinning. One drew thread and trod on the wheel with the broad flat foot. The second moistened the thread with her thick underlip, and the third twisted it around her wide thumb. As soon as they worked, pile after pile, the finest thread fell on the floor. When the queen came to visit, the girl hid the 3 spinners from her, and the queen admired the piles of yarn and praised the girl for her industry. When the first room was empty, the 3 women went into the second, and from there on to the third. It was a very short time, and all the flax in all 3 rooms were spun into the finest thread. When their work was finished, the 3 spinners took their leave, saying to the girl, Do not forget what you have promised us. When the queen came and saw the 3 empty rooms and great pile of thread, she began to plan the wedding. I have 3 aunts, she told the girl, who have been so kind to me. I would not like to forget them in my good fortune. Please allow me to invite them to the wedding and sit with me at the table. The queen granted her wish. The feast had just started when the 3 spinners entered, and the bride said, You are welcome, my dear aunts. Oh, said the bridegroom, where did you find such ugly relatives? Are you going are you going up to the one with the big foot? He asked. Why do you have such a broad foot? From treadling, she answered, shaking her head sadly. Then she went to the second and asked, Why do you have such a large lip? From licking. He asked the third, Why do you have such a wide thumb? From twisting thread. At this the princess was horrified and said, Then my bride shall never touch another spinning wheel as long as she lives. And so she was set free from all time from the hated task of spinning flax.